Grizzly bears are a magnificent animal, and it's not fair to them to force them into an area where not only aren't they welcome, but they aren't well suited. And they talk about a landscape that's very pristine. It got to be pristine without a grizzly bear there. And to introduce an apex predator makes no sense. When Chelan County referred to a great place to live and work and play, that will very severely restrict that ability.
Chelan County Commissioner Doug England strongly objects to the plans by U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the National Park Service to bring the bears into the North Cascades from British Columbia. He said they're not native to the area, furthermore, would conflict with the county's ag and tourism-based economy. But Conservation Northwest Director of Communications Chase Gunnell says England's comments are not based in fact.
It's perfectly reasonable to debate the merits of grizzly bear restoration in the North Cascades, and we certainly don't minimize some of the local concerns and opinions about that issue. But it is not reasonable to debate the factual record that grizzly bears are a native species in the North Cascades, including in Chelan County. And the historical record from sightings over the last century, as well as more recent sightings, such as one near Glacier Peak in 1996, are very clear about the presence of this species in our area.
Gunnell adds that only a small number of bears are to be brought into the area in a gradual manner over the course of several years.
I think I would say two things. The first being that the plan that has been proposed by the National Park Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to recover this species in the North Cascades is quite reasonable, it's incremental, and it includes only 25 bears over 5 to 10 years. So there will not be a grizzly behind every tree. We're not going to see the level of bear activity that might be seen in places like Yellowstone. This is a slow process over a very long time in a very large area. The other thing I would say is that there are abundant methods available for people living, working, and playing in bear country to coexist with these animals. And in fact, people in places like Northeast Washington, where there are grizzly bears, Montana, Idaho, Alaska, they do coexist with relatively few exceptions. Those exceptions may make the news, but they're far from the rule, and there are tools available for people in bear country to avoid conflicts.
The North Cascades grizzly reintroduction plans are the subject of an ongoing environmental impact study, which was recently started back up on orders by U.S. Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke. Now, the EIS considers 4 options, starting with no action at all, and then 3 other options calling for varying degrees of importation from 10 to 25 bears or even more. Animals of appropriate age and sex would be trapped in Montana or British Columbia and then released in remote sites in the North Cascades, there then to live and reproduce. The goal is a population of 200 bears within 25 to 100 years. Steve Hare, NCWLIFE News.